Hey, this is Kat from Red Mountain Shaman, and I share shamanic wisdom through dreams, visions, nature, synchronicities, intuition, channeling, art, music, photography, and shamanic journeys. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you all enjoyed yesterday's 222 energy. I was able to go to a crystal festival yesterday for a few hours and just felt like a really positive energy all day. And I don't know if you guys know this, but I do offer free crystal healing with every session. So I always love to keep an eye out for interesting and unique crystals that you don't see very often. So I intuitively choose those to work with me for every session. And I do believe that crystals do have true energy. They are beings. And I noticed I didn't do this because I had a really short session last week, and when I didn't use the crystals, I definitely noticed a difference in the energy, and it was just the energy wasn't flowing as good, and it was just really interesting. So yeah, if you book a session with me, you will get some free crystal healing with it. So last week, or it might have been the week before, we were talking about the people who are getting confirmed into T's cabinet, and I said nothing can stop what's coming, and all of the cabinet members were confirmed this week, so that's a positive. And in my 2024 energy read, if you want to go back and watch that, there's a chicken on the front, and I got a message about a chicken and an egg. And this week Dr. Berg had a video, and he was interviewing another doctor on there, and he was talking about how this thing that they're doing with the chickens and the eggs was kind of a manufactured thing, very similar to COVID, and they're wanting to vaccinate all these chickens. So if you want to go back and watch his video, it was just released this week, I think. And yes, I know Dr. Berg, he's got some issues in his past, but that doesn't bother me. I think he still has a lot of good information that he puts out. Another thing that came through in a session a couple weeks ago was this person was very connected to the Sasquatch. And I've never really had a connection to these beings, but in this session, because this person was very connected, one of these Sasquatch did come through, and we were asking this being questions, and he's explained that he was able to come in and out of our dimension, and that they were very connected to the earth, and they're earth keepers. And it was asked like what this being's name was, and he said, well, we really recognize each other by energy, but I can give you a name. And he gave me the name Elantra. And this morning I saw a car with that name. It was called the Elantra in the parking lot after we went on a walk near the river with our dog. And I looked up this name because it reminded me of that session, and I found out that this name means sophisticated vehicle. So that would make total sense because these Sasquatch are able to maneuver in and out of our dimension. So that was really a cool message. So last week I mentioned that more farmers markets would be opening. And the vision that I saw in this person's session was that these farmers markets would be expanding, coming into more places, and that they would really be a place where people can make connections, get really healthy food, and celebration, music. It was just a very positive vision that I saw about these farmers markets. And this week, RFK had a video talking about his plans to support the small farmers and regenerative farming. So that's a great video if you want to see all the things that he is trying to do to eliminate all the chemicals and the hijack of the small farms and forcing farmers to go into these big farming practices with all these chemicals. It was a really great video, and it was a farmer that actually posted this video with RFK talking about this. So go check that out. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to talk about was what's in the title today about the education and how that's going to be changing in New Earth. And I had a session with this beautiful woman, and she's a teacher, and she was just talking about how kind of unhappy she is in the current education system and maybe what her purpose was. She was also talking about how her students were acting out and just seemed really miserable and not, wanting to sit in a seat all day, and how this is like really detrimental for kids that have ADD. I think a lot of these kids don't have ADD. They just are normal kids that don't want to sit there all day, and they aren't interested in all the subjects that are being taught as well. So I was like that as a kid. I just dreaded going to school and sitting in a seat all day. And I remember I had a teacher who took notice of my talents at a very young age, and that I really loved art. And he actually took me from recess, because I would just sit there not wanting to get hit by the dodgeball because I just wasn't interested in that game. And he took me in at recess and he set me up with a bunch of paints and materials so that I could. So he really took me under his wing, and I was just as happy as a clam because I was put into a situation of something that I loved to do during school. At least for part of the school time, I was able to do that. And then in high school, I had another teacher that also took me under her wing. She was the photography teacher, and the photography area and the art area were connected. And so they would really shape my schedule so that I could be in there as much as possible, because that's what I really wanted to do, and that's what my passion was. And so I was in there a lot of my time during school, and she was very supportive. And, I grew up in a poor family with like 6 kids, and she would buy me photography paper and just really nurturing. And so I had some really great experiences and some horrible experiences too. I had another teacher that just was all about the rules, and it was, I was terrible at like math and science type stuff. And so, I remember my dad went in there and told the counselor and the teacher, we all had a meeting, and he said, "Your rules are taking precedence over my child's learning." So I will never forget my dad standing up for me and who I was as a person. So the vision I got for like New Earth schools, and this could just be like partly this client's mission, but it also feels like it could be for the collective as well. Like, one of the pathways that could be taken. So I saw that there wouldn't be less teachers, there would actually be more teachers, and that there would be teachers coming in that were parents of the kids, that it would be more of a family community. There would be guest teachers, there would be people volunteering, because I saw that a lot of people wouldn't be enslaved in these 9-to-5 jobs, and so that they would have more time to contribute to these teaching environments and these New Earth schools. I saw that more subjects would be taught. I saw that more choices would be presented for children at an earlier age, so that they're not just taught these basic things and then thrown into college and they have no idea what they want to do because they weren't able to really explore a whole lot of options. So that was pretty exciting. I also saw that people won't be forced into one occupation, that they'll probably be able to expand into different outlets and venues for their different talents and interests that they're passionate about. I saw that this school was a circular school, and that there was like gardens outside and there was animals, so that they were able to learn about those kinds of things. And at the end of this vision in this session last week, I saw bamboo growing all around the school. And at the time I thought, that's cool. Maybe they could put bamboo as dividers for different outdoor classrooms. But then after a few days passed, I kept thinking about the bamboo, and that was a plant spirit that came in with a message. And the thing that stood out to me most about the energy of the bamboo is rapid growth, and that children are going to be learning at a much more rapid pace because there's so much more options, opportunities, and more teachers available to them. And they're also in an environment that isn't so stifling where they're just sitting all day long. So I thought that was really cool. And then I also saw that if people wanted to learn about more cosmic and spiritual wisdom, that will also be integrated as an option, not a forced thing, but an option if people want to learn about that. Also, like farming, engineering, and things like this being brought into schools at a much younger age rather than just all of a sudden in college. And that also kids would be kind of directed more towards their innate talents and gifts that they come into this earth with, rather than forced into a box of things that they're not really interested in. So when I was in school, I'm going to turn my page of my notes here. When I was in grade school, I remember that they thought I had a learning disability in third grade because my brain would not, I just couldn't wrap my head around certain subjects, especially math. That was like really one that I had a huge block with. And so they just thought there was something wrong with me. And so I think that that's going to be going away, and that kids who are really wanting to learn about alternative subjects will be able to be given those opportunities. Okay, so the next thing I wanted to talk about was, I hope my husband doesn't mind, but he's gotten on a new platform. It's called Threads, and he's been kind of speaking his truth, and there's been some people on there that are just super angry, very attacking kind of energy. And then also on my own platform on Facebook, I've had a couple old friends commenting on my posts, and just they're completely in resistance to these changes. They think that we're going into this dystopian nightmare where our rights are being taken away. They're in a lot of fear, they're in a lot of anger, and they're in a lot of resistance to what's the changes that are happening right now. So I kind of wanted to ask Yeshua about that. And another thing that was coming through a little more in sessions lately is healing centers. And I know that a lot of us who are in the healing arts have, desires to build and develop these wellness or healing centers. And I think that has been coming forth more. One of the visions that I kind of have is being able to travel to different healing centers and visit each other's healing centers, and having guest speakers, having lots of different holistic modalities presented at these centers, because I do believe that the old medical system is going to be collapsing in a lot of ways. Not completely. I think we need certain things of that system, but I think that the holistic system is going to be having a complete resurgence and rise, which is really going back to the old ways. So last week I mentioned that in a couple sessions I had the idea of people being able to take a vacation come forward in these sessions. And then this week we have the current administration talking about a 5K refund. And I feel that is actually going to turn out to be a lot more than that. What I got last year was allotments coming in the time of spring. So we'll see what happens with that. I'm never given dates, and I never claim to be perfect, so we'll just have to see how that goes. I've had the vision of gold bars coming in and out of my meditations and sessions for years, and this coming month, I think it's been announced that Fort Knox and all the gold is going to be investigated there. So I asked Yeshua about that as well. And so he's been just coming into sessions nonstop lately. He's just feels like he's just right by my side all the time. So he's also been coming in for these channeled sessions a lot lately. So it's him. You and I are connected through the heart space. It is through this deep connection that I bring you tidings of joy and transformation. This heart connection is the basis of all telepathic exchanges. Through trust and love, we begin our exchange today. This being said, those who are in the heart and in alignment with truth are welcoming these exchanges upon earth. Those who are in various states of fear and anger are within their own limited understanding. It must also be said that clear vision comes from a clear spirit. The purification of mind, body, and spirit is a process that some are farther along than others, and this is perfectly normal, as all souls are progressing at their own rate. One may lead by example, as I have done, but to force enlightenment is not possible, nor is it recommended. Be within your authentic truth and within the authentic essence of your soul, and move forward as opportunity presents itself. Some may awaken and some may not. As way-showers of the new earth, this is a simple truth. Lead by example and heartfelt love, as force is never the way of the Most High. I would add that all programs having to do with the cessation of free will and sovereignty will be exposed and dismantled. As many are still in alignment with these control programs, you will see them kicking and screaming to keep them running. But forgive them, for they know not what they do. Those who continue to fight for their own suppression are still within these inverted matrices. These are they who do not yet have the eyes to see what is truly happening within the great shift upon earth. Others are already building new earth pathways to greater creativity and sovereignty within the mind, and this inner vision is what will begin to bring forth these new co-creations into matter in order to begin experiencing new realities. As these new realities are brought forth by those who hold this inner vision, there is a portion of humanity that will begin to see with new eyes, and in turn expand their own realities and consciousness. As there are many pathways one could take, others may continue in their old realities. Even during periods of enlightenment upon earth, there is always a measure of duality. However, this duality will be experienced to a much lesser degree in the near future. And as we have been saying, many celebrations will ensue. But what one may celebrate, another may mourn, depending on where their consciousness is. Younger souls may have a hard time grappling with change and even liberation, as their perception is within the confines of this restricted matrix. Those who have an expanded awareness will have the opportunity to shine their light and begin a new chapter of co-creation, as this is the liberation that is on the horizon. All corrupted systems that are now being dismantled or bulldozed are making way for new ideas, new creations, and new ways of being. There will come a point when choices are made and timelines will split. Those who are choosing to be part of the organic path of creation will be given support to allow this pathway to come into fruition, as will the choice of continued control and artificial pathways. It is through the universal law of free will that these choices will be honored. It is through the universal laws of order and consequence that justice and mercy will be balanced. As we continue through this great experiment, some of you will be expanding your forgotten abilities, talents, and spiritual gifts, while others may rely on the outside authorities and artificial technologies to make choices for them, and some will buy into their false promises of the artificial expansion of consciousness and health. In order to allow for the free will, the options will be presented, but eventually the Earth will no longer be able to support the artificial timeline, as she is ascending and the frequencies are rising. And I explain this scenario in order to prepare you as the light codes and solar activity continues to pour over the planet. Allow for the free will and choice of others, and move forward with your own choices as you honor the truth within you. For untold beauty and rebirth is at hand for those who are in alignment with this powerful light of truth coming forward. The apocalypse, or the unveiling of truth, is in full swing. More of your corrupt so-called authorities will be uncovered, and justice will prevail. What they have stolen must be returned, for now is the time of reckoning. The fallen ones have had free reign over Mother Earth, and their fronts of environmental protection will be exposed as many false agencies continue to fall and be held accountable for the deception to the people and the destruction to Mother Earth and her inhabitants. The profits they have made under the guise of protecting Earth and humanity will be seized and returned to the new builders of Earth. The new guardians will step forward as the old guards fall, for a new cycle is at hand, and the year of the snake is shedding its old skin and rebirthing a new one. Nothing can stop the hand of the Most High and the retribution taking place at this momentous time of change. The pure in heart shall indeed inherit the earth, as new stewards take the reins and stand at the helm in order to steer her towards the light. You could say that a massive U-turn is taking place for those who choose liberation, prosperity, organic life, and co-creation with the living God of all that is. The great spirit of all creation is ready to assist you in bringing forth a new renaissance. An explosion of creativity will ensue as your proposals are put forth and a new chapter on earth begins. And so it will be. I give you this message with the utmost faith in my Lions of Judah. You have walked through the fire of purification and continue to hold steadfast to your sovereign vision. For this I commend you and trust that you will not surrender or give up in the final leg of the battle as we bring forth the new light of the golden age together in unity and strength. The gold will be won. The gold will be found. I am Yeshua, he who continues to wield my sword of truth and light as all corruption is brought to the surface to be seen and remediated. Amen and amen. Thank you, Yeshua. So he mentions an agency hiding behind the guise of wanting to protect Mother Earth. I think he's actually talking about the EPA. So we'll see if something comes up with that in the coming weeks. At the end, I asked Yeshua if he would pull a card today that kind of had some confirmation about the things that we talked about today. Mainly education was, I felt like, the main thing I wanted to talk about today. And this card flew out of the deck called Whispers of Lord Ganesha. And I do think Yeshua and Ganesha work together. And this card is called Fulfillment. No matter what you want to do or become, you will achieve more with knowledge. This image of Ganesha writing the scroll is a symbol of the importance of education and the pursuit of knowledge. This might mean that there is a period of increased study and learning at hand. You may find you want to inquire about a field of study that has been widely explored and choose to go to an experienced teacher to learn more. Look for someone to consult for more information. This may be a counselor, an author, a psychotherapist, or some spiritual advisor. You will discover new skills from this helpful teacher as they have the wisdom to provide excellent guidance and advice. Keep in mind there is also a wealth of information at your fingertips in books. Everything you read fills your head with new information, and you never know when it might have a practical use. The more knowledge you have, the better equipped you are to tackle any challenge that lies before you. Additionally, knowledge can never be taken from you. No matter what you're longing to do or become, you will benefit from gaining more knowledge. Approach this time with great curiosity and an open mind. So I feel like this card is just expanding on the concept of having these new education centers that are really expanded. I think that because T closed the Department of Education, people who are in this field might be in a lot of fear and resistance. But in reality, the vision that I'm getting is that the education system will actually be expanding and be much more tailored to people's passions and desires and gifts. And it is going to be kind of like a little bit of a rough transition, because there are people who are really schooled and planted and grounded in this old system. So it's just going to take some time to expand our consciousness in developing these new systems that are much more beneficial for the children and the teachers. So I do believe that that is coming. And this card actually also kind of expands upon that and saying, and besides like a formal education center, people going to that, you can also go to individual teachers, you can go to books, you can go to the computer, YouTube. I mean, there's like all ways of learning things. I do kind of have a feeling that this idea of getting like degrees in this one thing, that might be sort of fading out. I'm not quite sure, but we'll see what happens. But from what I'm seeing, that the learning and education is actually going to be expanding in a really beautiful way. So I'm really excited about that. So hang in there if you are in this field, and hopefully a beautiful transformation of this education system is coming. If you would like to book a session with me, please go to redmountainshaman.com. Go to my contact page, and you can get directions on how to book a session with me. It also helps my channel to grow if you would press the like button, and if you feel like you would like to donate, you can also go to my contact page and there's a link there to donate. Please also subscribe if you're new so that you can be reminded of my weekly videos. I usually post videos every Sunday. So until next week, sending you all love. Take care.